Good morning, friends, wherever you are, and I hope you're having a cup of your favorite beverage, hopefully in one of these cups. Very, very good. So, welcome to today's Cichlids and Coffee. Glad you could make it on a Saturday. And let's see who we have in the house here. We have ex-colleague Kev. This weather almost makes me miss California. Yeah, California. I think I checked my son's weather in San Francisco was at 55 early this morning, and going up from there. But we've doubled in temperature here. We've doubled. We were at 6 degrees just a little bit ago, and now I think we're sitting at 12. So we're getting up to a high of 18. So it's just going to be downright balmy around here. So what do we got? We got some wonderful moderators here. Zen Ginger and Denny's in the house. Hey, Denny. Wonderful moderators who help keep the stream family friendly. Paul Newman in the house, and unpin that. Okay, so give me a sound check. How are we doing on sound and video? AV check. Where's my AV check crew? How's it looking? El Consigliere, the legend. Hardly a legend, my friend. Scotty in the house. Scotty, are you the new member of the Garage Gang? I noticed a few new Patreon members. One of them was Scotty. Was that you? If it is you, thank you so much for jumping in, my friend. We had a couple new Patreon members, Scotty and Atina, I think, joined in. And while I'm on the topic, let me go ahead and just do a very quick. Might as well just do a quick little shout out here to the wonderful Patreon members. You can see them going across your screen there. These are the folks who jump in every month and help with the garage, and they help a lot more than they realize. I think there was one called Pitbull just became a Patreon member as well. Patreon details are under the video. If you care to join, just follow the link that's in the description. Also, before we get underway, a very big shout out to the channel sponsor, Cunningham Tropicals, who offers to you two very nice discounts, 15% off on fish using ben.o.15 and 10% off on dry goods using ben.o.10. So check out Cunningham Tropicals. Josh over there, he is 100% legit. So what other bills can I pay? Oh, okay. If you want to pick up some swag, visit the Teespring store, where you can get coffee mugs and t-shirts and hoodies and all kinds of good stuff. I think I'm due for some new stuff at the Teespring store, so I'll be putting out some new content soon. But definitely check that out. And if you use Amazon, who doesn't use Amazon these days? I use Amazon all the time. But if you go to Amazon, check out my Amazon store. And if you jump out of the store and then go shop on Amazon, the channel gets credit, even though your cost stays the same. So just by accessing it using that link that you see on the screen, that then provides the channel credit, because it's like, oh well, you got them to Amazon, so we're going to give you a little something. I think it's the percentage I get of your purchase is 0.001. I think that. So definitely use that link, and I will definitely it definitely helps the channel. So let's go ahead and let's do the official start here. What do you say? All right, we are now officially underway. And hey, Salient Aquatics in the house, another wonderful moderator. And did I give a shout out to Zen Ginger? I think I may have. And Denny, hey, Jerry. Jerry's in the house, lurking on the honeydew list. Got to do that honeydew list, especially if you want another tank someday. Brian Hahn, one of my big time long term Patreon members. Silver Creeks Wildlife. What a great name, Silver Creeks Wildlife. And let's see here, Fat Fish Design. I love these names. These are great names. Fat Fish Design. Hey, good morning to you, Dustin Robbie. And William Dyers is in the house. And Andre DeGros. I'm having a tea and a nitrate spike. Well, that's interesting. And let's see here. Miguel is in the house. Peas and Haps is here. Got some great folks. Ex-Collie Kev. Yeah, we talked about Ex-Collie Kev. Hey, Adam. Good to see you, Adam Frankel. Big friend of the channel. Angelo's here. Did we say Warren already? All right. I've got a video for you. Hey, Crows Aquatics in the house. Hey, Whip. Whip is here. And who is this? Chicanita Jaques. ¿Cómo te encuentras, Chicanita? Me encanta ese nombre. When I was young, it was we had the Chicanos. Part of the school was Chicano. That was a real big deal. You're in Chicago. Okay, very cool. Must be very cold there. And a bubble off. And Dustin, let me see. Mike Walsh in the house. All right, we got some great folks here. So thank you all. Thank you all for stopping by. And I do have a short video for you. And thank you for that. El Consigliere throws a little super chat at me. For those of you not familiar, super chats are a way to help with help the channel by throwing a little dough at the channel. It's at the bottom over in the chat. It's down there. You see a little money sign. The Fish Fam link is here. M&C Aquatics. Raz and Fishy Fishes. Hey, you are on time, my friend. All right. So I do have a video for you today I'll be sharing with you. And what this video is something different because I want to do I want to test. And what a better way to test than to run it by my my friends who show up on Saturday. So there's a couple things about the video that I was thinking that maybe I could tweak or do a little better or change. But I thought, you know what? Before I do that, maybe those are just misgivings or considerations or thoughts that only exist in my obsessive head. So maybe it's okay the way it is. So I figured, why not just run it by you folks? It's like 4 minutes. It's not a big, long video. It's a short video. But I figured I'd play for, it has not aired anywhere. So I thought I'd play it for you folks. And then you could tell me what you think. Give me your honest take in the chat. Don't be too brutal. And then I'll take the video. I have the raw footage, and I'll tweak it accordingly, and we'll go from there. But please don't be too cruel, because I'm very thin-skinned. So, and so at any rate, we will be playing that, and let's talk a little bit about the weather. What I've been doing is each morning, first of all, thank God, we haven't had any power outages. Okay, because you saw my video on that. That would be extremely frightening. I do have like a 2100 watt backup and a 500 watt backup. So I have two uninterrupted power supply backups. But as one of you pointed out to me, if you try to run heaters on these backups, they draw so much that I would have a very limited amount of time. I would probably have to be having them run and then having them not run and run and not run. And I don't know. With the bigger tanks, it probably wouldn't be such a big deal because it's it takes a lot to change the temperature in 100, 200, 300 gallons. The smaller tanks, I would definitely have to have the heaters plugged in because they would plummet. They would drop in temperature immediately. But fortunately, there have not been any power outages. I come in the morning, I check to make sure all the heaters are working, make sure no heater is burned out. Now, I also double check the temp on the tanks to make sure that I'm not getting a false reading. So I have a digital thermometer. It just takes me a second. I just dip it into each tank and just make sure that what I'm seeing on the readout is correct. My little Pleco tank was down to 69 degrees with one of those little flat heaters. You know those flat heaters that, here, I'll show it to you. Hold on. You can watch the fish cam while I go get it. This is one of those little flat heaters. This one's made by Aquariums. Have you ever used one of these? Yeah, I'll show you on a close up. They're they also sell little ones, little teeny ones, like the size of smaller than one of those little big cigarette lighters. But I just found that the second it was put under any kind of stress, it just failed. It just wouldn't. I mean, it couldn't keep a little 5 gallon Pleco tank. It couldn't keep that warm, and so I pulled it. It's trash now. It's just trash, and I'm going to go ahead and toss it. But I don't recommend these for anyone who might have their aquariums go under any kind of stress, any kind of drop in temp. So I had a bigger, more traditional heater. I dropped that in there. It looks a little bit awkward because it's large for that 5 gallon. It's like a 25 watt, I think, maybe a 50. Actually, I think it's a 50 watt, but it's doing a great job. The tank gradually got up to about 78, 79, and it's holding there. The beta tank, which is right by the door, is holding at about 79 or 80, and I'm going to be putting some weather stripping. I've ordered it on eBay. I'm sorry, I ordered it on Amazon using my own Amazon link. But I went ahead and got the weather stripping. It's going to go around this door back here in the back of my garage. Has I'd say about a 1/4 inch, in some parts 3/4 inch gap, where if you hold your hand to it, you can just feel the cold air rushing in. So, people don't really care about these garages, I guess, when they build them, about having them super, super airtight, because there's a door that separates the garage from the house, which would normally be closed. But in my case, I keep it open because I'm blowing warm air from the house in here. So I'm going to weather strip the door, and that'll be part of the process. I'm thinking about, a lot of you have suggested getting a split, what they call a split, which is a heating cooling unit. Also a backup generator. These things are all, $1,000 projects. So again, big shout out to my Patreon supporters, and to those of you who super chat and watch the videos, subscribe, because all that helps to fund this stuff. So between the generator possibly a split, and the other changes. I'm looking at about a couple grand, maybe a couple grand when everything is said and done, because I also have to have an electrician come out and create a plug-in at the box, at the circuit box, so I can just plug that generator in. I'll get a big enough one that can run like the big appliances, heating and cooling, the fridge and the fish room, right? There's some real nice ones out there that deliver a lot of wattage. They run on propane, they run on gas, different ways of doing it. So definitely I'm doing temperature checks. I'm checking the functions of the heaters, checking the controllers, and just keeping a real close eye on things. Everything, as they say in the UK, touch wood, but it's going okay. Everything's going okay. So hopefully it's going to start to warm up and it's not going to be an issue. I will say that in California, believe it or not, in California, I had more problems with blackouts and brownouts than I do here. And this is why, and I'm not saying this to take a position on electric. One of my cars is a hybrid that you have to plug in. I'm not taking any position on this or being political in any way, but this is why it amazes me when someplace like California is saying that by a certain date all the cars have to be electric when the grid can't really handle the load right now. And you can imagine what'll happen when another million people are plugging cars in. I mean, I don't really think they've thought it through. So, but yeah, we used to get brownouts in California very regularly, and it was. But fortunately, the outside temperature wasn't that bad, so you wouldn't have a temperature crash, and that really is my biggest concern would be a temperature crash. Oxygen, I've got lithium battery power backups on all of the pumps. Every tank has an air pump. There's a lithium battery. I've got Aqua Higer. I've got Aquarium Co-op, and I've got Cobalt Rescue air pumps. And those I think all three of them can run for about 48 hours. So oxygen wouldn't be a problem. And so there would be some breakup of the surface. The main concern, I mean, I wouldn't even be that concerned about filtration, really. I'd be more concerned about temperature and oxygen. So, and I think in most cases, like let's say you're in an area like Arizona or California and you have a blackout, your fish are probably going to die from oxygen, just from a lack of oxygen because of no surface breakup. In places like that, that's probably what's going to kill your fish during a brownout or a blackout. So you got to get in there and break up the surface with your hand, right? Siphon out some water and pour it back in. Just take steps every hour or two, go down there and just break up the surface. Ideally, have some pumps, have some, like the Aquarium Co-op lithium battery. The two outlet pump, the double outlet from Aquarium Co-op, actually will get oxygen to the bottom of this tank and the bottom of the 210. So I've got two air stones, and that's a long way to go for an air pump to go to the bottom of a tank like this, and it actually does it. It actually just creates a lot of bubbles and moves it and gets the air down there and gets it working. So definitely consider getting some of those. It could be a lifesaver if you've got some. Let's say you have 5 or 6 small tanks. You don't have big monster tanks. You can run those 2 outlets into a little gang valve and then split them out and go from 2 to 4. And you'd probably have enough oxygen, enough bubbles in each of the tanks going through an air stone. So just something to keep in mind. Did I ever get an AV check? Let me see here. Is it sounding and looking okay? I hope. I'm going back up the Ron, I did get a generic quote, and we're talking about 10 grand. 10 grand. All right. Well, you haven't been complaining, so I'm going to assume the AV's been okay. And all is well. Whip says all is well. Okay, good. William comes in with a super chat. Thank you, my friend. Very nice of you. I used to use the pole dancer analogy. I don't use that anymore, but throwing money at the dancer. But I still think it's funny. All right. So, for those of you who came in late, there will be a short video I'm going to be sharing with you. And the purpose of sharing it with you is not just to share it with you, but also I want to get your feedback on it. If you think, well, feedback about two things. One, the video itself. I want to know what you think about the video. Do you think that it conveys the message, right? So I'll have two. You're going to get a chance to critique me two ways. Does the video convey the message like clearly enough? And second, do you think the topic that's discussed in the video is going to work? The title of the video is "Will This Work?" And it's about some moves that are going to occur here in the fish room. And so I want to get your viewpoint on both the video and then also on the topic. Do you think what's discussed in the video is going to work? And any nuances or tweaks or changes that you think I need to rethink, I want you to share those. We're talking about fish compatibility. We're talking about the size of aquariums. We're talking about the order in which things are going to get done. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and then after the video, I'm going to take a deep dive into your comments, and then we'll take a look at that. Is that Les? Aussie, the Oscar likes the angle. You like this angle? You know, it's. You got to admit those South Americans look good on camera, don't they? When I'm by the 210, the Oscar, the Salvini, the Big Vieja. But these these guys also are pretty interactive. They're not that camera shy. And look at that. The Fusco wants to bite me. Here's that beautiful trout. The Rhodesiae yellow. Fusco is the most interactive. He actually would love to take a bite out of my finger. The sand diver is a little shy, but sand divers are shy in general. That's why they dive completely under the sand. If you've never seen one go all the way under the sand, it's hilarious. The hawk is actually very shy. The Rhodesiae went in after the Spectabilis, but the Fusco put him in his place. The Fusco is either the boss or the sub-boss. The trout was the boss, but the Fusco has so much more mass, so much more girth. Got the Coingi up here. Not sure if you can see him on camera. And then I've got Louis Armstrong over here. This is the gar. I say he's got trumpet player lips, so we'll name him after my favorite trumpet player. But let's go ahead and take a look at that video. So hold on. Here we go. It's called Will This Work? And here you go. You know, I'm always saying we all learn from each other. This is one of those moments. I need your advice. I want you to help me decide what to do with this tank right here. This is a 90-gallon rimless that I picked up from my friends over at Glass Cages. And currently I have a very nice mix of fish. I have a couple of Severums, a AC Hecali, a couple Geo, a couple Earth Eaters, There's some Buenos Aires tetras and a pleco in there, and a Siamese algae eater, an SAE. So I want to do some things to that tank and possibly turn it into a discus tank. I'm thinking of moving all of the fish out, putting the Severums, the Geos, into the 210 gallon. What do you think? Do you think they would work in there? Do you think that they would get destroyed, or do you think that they would do okay? They're pretty good size. So the two Severums and the large AC Hecali would go into the 210, and the pleco could stay in there. The Siamese algae eater, I'd move them back to the 29 gallon, where I'm currently doing the quarantine for the Congo tetras. Then this tank, then the 90 gallon, I would start to add plants, add some more driftwood, take the artificial plants out, start to build up a real nice, lush aquarium with a lot of plants, probably some jungle val, some anubias, things like that, maybe some crypts along the bottom, and just put some plants in that can do some of the work, right, some of the filtration, and then introduce into that tank some discus. Now, one of the questions would be, what do I do with the albino AC Hecali that are currently in the 55 gallon here over my shoulder, because they're much too small to go into the 210. Not sure if I'd want them in there anyway. So could they be tank mates for a discus tank? Could AC Hecali actually live, or some people call them albino acaras, that works as well, but could they live with discus and be okay? I also want to take neons and rummy nose and possibly some of the cory cats out of the 55 and put them in the 90 to live with the discus fish. So what do you think about that idea? And what about putting the Congo tetras with the discus? Do you think they'd get along? So I'd have the medium and small Congo tetras and small, I'd have to call them small albino hecalis in the 90 with discus, with some rummy nose and some neons and some cories, and then all the fish that are currently in the 90 over in the 210. What do you think about that? Do you think that would work? Or do you think I'm crazy? Do you think I'd end up with problems? Do you think there'd be a lot of aggression? Now, what about the red tear? Do I try the red tear in the 210, or do I leave him in the 55 and possibly even try to breed him if I can find a female red tear somewhere? Again, give me your input. Let me know in the comments below. I do listen to you. I do take up your suggestions, and I appreciate it, okay? Thank you so much, my friends, and I hope to see you on Saturday at the Cichlids and Coffee live stream every Saturday at 11 a.m. Central, an hour of fish talk with some very good fish keepers. And that's it for me. If you like the channel, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'll see you again soon. Check out this video for my best tip. There you go. All right. Well, let's get your feedback on that. I mean, it's going to be a transition, has to be really thought out. And the first phase would be to move the fish out of the 90 and then make sure, before I do anything else, that they're okay in their new home. Because if I move them out of the 90 and I get a bloodbath in the 210, I'm going to have to recover them from the 210 and put them back into the 90. So you have these different phases, right? So once they're out of the 90 and into the 210, I would say give it about a month, maybe, I don't know, 2 weeks to a month. Make sure everybody's okay. Nobody's getting singled out or killed. Once I've got that going, then I'll start the planting process, because I know I'm not going to be bringing back a bunch of plant destroyers, right? So now that I know that everybody's settled in the 210, then I'll start adding the plants to the 90. Jungle val, some crypts, some right, anubias, hornwort, Sprite, right? Just get a lot of plants in there to really help with water quality. It's not going to be just for aesthetics, but also for water quality. In the meantime, I'm going to be floating some nice pieces of driftwood and getting all the tannins out of them. I'll probably just float them in my sink here, like maybe some big pieces of mopani. I really like the Zoom Ed mopani. It's very pretty. Maybe some spiderwood, things like that. And just float those in some water, get all the tannins out of them. Attach some anubias, and then drop those in the 90. Attach the anubias with some super glue gel, which dries very quickly and is non-toxic to aquarium fish. And then get the aquariums, and then move the neons. And then I'm assuming all the fish are doing okay in the 210, right? Move the neons and the rummy nose from the 55 and probably the Cory cats, or buy a whole bunch of new neons and new rummy nose and dump those into the 90. I think a bunch of neons and a bunch of rummy nose would be really cool complementary fish for a tank full of discus. And then after everybody looks like they're doing well, right? I've got Corys in there. I think I'm going to take the pleco out, and I'll tell you why. I think plecos, Siamese algae eaters, armored catfish, fish like that, they actually have been known to attach themselves to the side of a discus and eat away their slime coat. So I don't think I'm going to have any real any real that kind of like suction suckerfish. I don't think I'm going to have any real suckerfish in there. Maybe very, very teeny, maybe some of the smaller plecos that I'm growing out, but nothing bigger than 3 inches for sure. But let me get your input since I've got the chat up and rolling. Let me see what you folks have to say. And Whip World, thank you for that super chat, my friend, and your pointers and tips. Kendall G in the house. Good morning, Kendall G. I am scrolling the chat. William Dyer, did I say hi to you already? 9 degrees where you're at? I know double digit seems like a real victory. Rose Aquatics in the house. Michael Welsh, M&C, Chicanita. Already said hi to you, Chicanita. And Z-Zip is here. I love all the folks we've got here. Wonderful. Chicanita Juarez, my fish tank, but lots of bubbles, foamy white. Tried everything. When you get a chance, give me advice. Well, you know what? I'll take that up now. Why not? You were kind enough to give me a little super chat. There's a couple things you can do. There are some filters out there that have like a skimmer. Some of the Suns. A lot of the canister filters have an attachment that you put right at the level of the water, the surface level, and it skims. It's like a skimmer. It just pulls muck down and filters it. Now, you may have phosphates in your water. Phosphates, you can test for phosphates. A phosphate test kit doesn't cost much. You might want to consider testing for phosphates. And if you have phosphates, you can add a phosphate pad to your filter, and that'll take the phosphates out. Decor and substrate. Your decor and substrate, especially if you're using things like play sand and plastic decorations, they can sometimes be contribute to phosphates. You may also consider adding some floss to your filter, but keep an eye on it because it will block. If it does its job, it will block and become clogged and create an overflow with your hang-on back filter or a blockage in your canister. But floss is good. Pinky floss is good. And products like Purigen that can remove solids. A resin type of filter like Seachem, Purigen, Boyd Industries makes one also. ChemiPure, those are good, and they will go ahead and pull out, some of the things that might be contributing to a foamy surface. So those would be my first plan of action. 25% water change, that can help, but certainly a filter with a skimmer if you can't do that. Purigen, ChemiPure green if you have plants, ChemiPure blue if you don't. Activated charcoal can help. Activated carbon, I only leave that in for 30 days and then I pull it out. ChemiPure, I think, is good for 6 months. And Purigen is good until it goes brown, at which point you can recharge it. But those are my my tips. I hope that helps. All right, let's see what other questions or ideas you might have. Adam Frankel, 70 degrees in Coconut Creek, Florida. I don't want to hear about it. I hate you right now. I'm thinking about visiting my son who's down in Fort Myers. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know, Razan. I don't know about a kerosene. I don't know if I'd go the kerosene heater route. Not sure if I would do that right now. That's not really on the list, but not something I've even considered, honestly. Yeah, it does, doesn't it, ZZip? ZZip says that this looks like a reptile heater. They have reptile heaters that are actually in the shape of rocks. And yeah, they'll be like a little flat thing that the reptile can lay on. And I used to have an iguana. And so I'm familiar with reptile heaters. M&C Aquatics has Aquatop, Hydor, Eheim, and a couple old Penplax test tube heaters from the 70s. Now, it's funny because the folks over at Aquarium Co-op say that to be on the safe side, your heaters should run for about 2 years, and then you risk having them malfunction, which of course would mean either they stop working or they cook your fish. So just keep that in mind. I'd be running those heaters through a definitely through a controller. And for those of you not familiar with a controller, it's just something that shuts the power off when the aquarium has reached the desired temperature. It shuts the power off. So you set your heaters like at 82, set your controller at 79 or 80, and you'll find that you actually save electricity too. Let's see. B. Wood. Ben, you need to get a standby or portable generator that would run your home. With what you have invested in fish, you're really pushing fate. Sooner or later, you will lose power. Yeah, that's the reality that I'm facing right now, and it's just a matter of money. It's just a matter of money. It's not a inexpensive proposition. I would be able to, because I have a functioning fish room that I use on YouTube, I would be able to write off a good part of it, if not all of it. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. I've got my my back and my wallet against the wall, and that is what I'm going to have to do. Thank you, everybody who is sharing links. Thanks for giving thumbs up, and thanks for those super chats. Peas and Haps forever. Get one of those large garage heaters. I do have a very powerful, over 1,000-watt floor heater that I'm running right behind me right now. It's by Dr. Heater, and it does a pretty good job. But but again, none of that matters if you have a power outage. M&C Aquatics, they make a panel for generators that automatically switch over. That would be the ideal, and I'll tell you why. Let's say that you're 2 hours away, you're up in the mountains somewhere, you're visiting some friends or family, and you're a couple hours away, and there's a power outage, and it's 15 degrees outside. It would be very nice to know that something automatically switched on. Otherwise, by the time you get home, there's going to be some traumatized fish. It looks like a lot of folks like that short. I put out a short off of Rick Beato. Some of you know Rick Beato. If you're a music fan on YouTube, Rick Beato has perhaps one of the most amazing music discussion channels on YouTube. And he made this short video on people leaving YouTube. I thought it was very, 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 very good what he had to say. And it sort of adjusted my viewpoint to some degree, even though I've been operating to a large degree the way he said. But, folks that just get so stressed about content and views and subscriber count and they just burn out. They just leave the channel. And I tell you, if it was all about dollars and cents for me, I probably would have left YouTube. If I was relying on YouTube as a source of income, just to be completely honest with you, I can generate in 2 hours doing what my professional field is. I can generate in 2 hours what I make in a month on YouTube. So it's got to be done. It's got to be done for the love of the hobby, for the love of the community and the interaction that you get in the community, and because of a personal desire to share information, content, and one of the things that might become a motto of the channel is like I was talking about hardwood floors, that I ruined my floors so you didn't have to ruin yours. So these are kind of mottos you could have on fish channels. I killed a lot of fish so that you don't kill yours, So you got to have a strong desire to help. And if it becomes all about the money, I mean, YouTube, it's like playing poker with somebody and they make the rules and they're looking at your hand and their hand. And at any moment, YouTube could say, okay, only channels with 100,000 subscribers are monetized. Or, they could throw anything out there and it's their platform. So you are sort of rolling the dice. But anyway. So let's go on here and see what else you're saying. Now, Henry, I have a gasoline generator and I also bought air pumps from Aquarium Co-op for backup. Smart. Very, very smart. Now, the key question about all of that, Henry, is did you use my Aquarium Co-op affiliate link? Because if you didn't, I want to hear an explanation from it. And of course, I'm just razzing you. All right, let's see here. I am cruising the chat. So tell me about what you think about that transition from the 90. I think the big question is that I have is wow, look at that. I haven't seen that before. I'm watching the Firemouth get into it a little bit with the Jack Dempsey. Now the Firemouth, of course, doesn't realize that eventually the Jack Dempsey is going to be twice his size, but usually he gets into it with the Nicaragua. Firemouths are very, very territorial. He has his little section in the 210, and he doesn't want anybody in there. He'll even go after the Vieja. So, but several fish in there, like the JD and the Nicaragua, they don't back off. Okay, you want to lip lock? Let's lip lock. Let's go. Let's throw down. So, do you think, here's some of the big questions. Do you think you can keep Congo tetras with discus? Can you keep Congo tetras with discus? Number one. Number two, can you keep acaras with discus? Do you think you can keep acaras with discus? What do you think? There's the question. Go ahead and hit me with some answers. Let me know. The other question is, what about those electric blue acaras? Do you think those electric blue acaras could stay with the discus? Or do you think I'd put them in the 210? Electric blue acaras, they don't back down. They can be pretty tough. The EBAs. So would the electric blues stay back? Or do you think they should go into the 210? I mean, they get maybe what, 4 inches, 5 inches. They get pretty bulky. Probably they're too big to go into an Oscar's mouth, probably. But what do you think? So that's the question. Rainbow, Congo tetras, and acaras, electric blues and albinos. Could they be tank mates with discus? What do you think? Thank you, William. William says that the video is fine the way it is. Appreciate that. Zen Ginger loves Mopani. You know, I have a fish store about an hour away from me, Franklin Pet. There's a video I put out on them, Franklin Pet. And they had nice pieces of Mopani wood. About the ones that you see in the 90, they were $10 a piece. $10. I should drive down there. And you know, Whip Swirl, you're right. I mean, I'd have to keep a real close eye on things. I would have to be monitoring it very, very closely because we all know that these fish, that switch can flip and away they go. There's a fellow named Darius, I think. He's got like 300-gallon tanks, big tanks, full of cichlid, New World, and you know, South and Central American cichlids, and he had a bunch of fish being killed off. In his case, it was a red tear that was killing him off in the night. So he'd come down in the morning, there'd be a dead fish. He'd come down in the morning, there'd be a dead fish. Finally, he figured out it was the red tear that was, you know, into stealth murder mode. So you got to really, really keep a close eye on it. Here first, greetings from Ireland, my friend. Greetings to you. And let's see, Lady Diane in the house. Hello, Lady Diane. Glad you're here. And it looks like Salient Aquatics is doing his artwork. What does it take? It's got to take about 10 minutes to do something like that, right? Unless you've got like a copy and paste. Good morning, Atkins Nature Aquariums. All right. Okay, any more comments, any more questions? DSGF, the Hagen Hill design. Why mix super glue with baking soda to increase bulk of structure or something? I've never done that. I use super glue to attach the rhizome, the thick part of Anubias, and also Java fern. I use it to attach those kinds of plants that don't have to be in the substrate. I also it's non-toxic, but you have to make sure that you use super glue gel. It has to be the gel. I've heard that's the one that is the non-toxic super glue gel. You know, people have recommended barbs to me, tiger barbs. I have a cherry barb in the 55, but very mellow. But Erie first, Ireland first. I think my albino cherry barbs are nipping the red eye tetras when the lights go off. I would not be surprised. Barbs are very, very nippy in general. Tiger barbs are crazy nippers. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. And then what are you going to do? I mean, my Buenos Aires tetras were nipping. They're also plant destroyers, so they went into the 90. And that's going to be the fish that's probably going to end up rehomed. Or who knows? Maybe the Buenos Aires tetras would be okay in the 210. I keep those fish fairly well fed, so would they go after a Buenos Aires tetra to eat it? I don't know. Maybe. But I definitely wouldn't keep them with Oscars or with threadfin fish with long trailing fins like your Acaras, because they'll nip those fins, right? They haven't been nipping the Hecali, I don't think. Maybe because he's so much bigger and they're afraid, but wouldn't want to risk it. But yeah, Salient has been pushing that I get tiger barbs for years now, but those are nippers. I used to attach plants. I used to attach plants with fish line. I had some clear fish line, and then I became very, very reluctant to do it because one time, one of the fish somehow got between the driftwood and the fish line and then tried to back out and couldn't, got stuck on the gills, and by the next morning he was dead. It was a beautiful blue cichlid that I had, and so I stopped using fish line. So Razin Fishes. Ben, a couple of weeks ago, you sent me some sample foods, and thank you for that. So I tried the Sarah foods on my rainbow Denison barbs, and they love that stuff. Guess I'll be buying some. So I hope that my friends over at Sarah read this and send me more samples that I can give away. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. They really put the research and the science into it. They have like literally a fish lab, and they're constantly testing what works and what's best, and it's all good ingredients. Yeah, Ron. Ron, our thoughts and prayers in the direction of your son, who is out there on the battlefield. So let's help out a collaboration of curiosities. I'm trying to work out what smaller fish I can add in with my 2 angels and 1 electric blue ram in my 30-gallon. Now, angels can be a little nippy. They're angels or no angels. I've said that quite a bit. But I think some cardinal tetras or some neons. I think a bunch of rummy nose. I think a school of rasboras. All of those I think would be okay. I would put some more rams in there. I mean, rams like to hang out. I know they're expensive, but I think you've got to keep your water a little warmer for rams, right? Isn't that why we see rams very often living with discus? Because they like it around 80 to 83. So I think maybe cardinal tetras, they like it a little warmer. Get some fish that don't mind a little bit warmer water. But yeah, I'd probably go with some cardinals, maybe some rasboras. But rams are beautiful. I love rams. I love the way they move. I love the way they look. And unfortunately, I've had a little bit of bad luck with them. Mostly because I just wasn't keeping my tanks. I think because I wasn't keeping my tanks warm enough back in the day when I had them. And by the way, you mentioned the denison, right? The denison. I think I'd like to get some of those denisons. They don't seem that nippy to me, and I love the way they look. I love how active they are. Don't think I'd put them in with discus, but I think a bunch of them in the 210 would be nice, especially when they get up around 3-4 inches. Some denison barbs. I just think they're just really good looking fish. They look like barracudas. So Erie First, my happy tank consists of harlequin rasboras, green neon tetras, ember tetras, and peppered cory shrimp and snails. Wow, and they leave your shrimp alone. That's kind of cool. That's very cool. Yeah, it's funny because you listen to cichlid keepers and they say, well, I've got this. When I want to calm down, I look at my planted tank, my community tank, because I get too stressed watching my cichlid tank. Fortunately, I don't have a lot of going on here. I think it might be a combination of the size of the tank, right? Plus, there's a lot of line of sight breakage with the breaking the line of sight with these tall plants, so fish can get away pretty easily. I keep them very well fed. They're sitting at around about 80 degrees, 79, 81, somewhere in there. So it's not that there's a low temp, but I don't get a lot of violence in here. I do get some activity right after a water change. They'll color up a little bit. They'll do their breeding dance and they'll go after each other. Mostly the trout will do that. The rest of them, not so much. So DSGF, I have more teenage baby assorted cichlids than originals. Teenage. I can't set up any more tanks. Any suggestions on what I should do? Okay, so I'm assuming what you're asking is that some fish some fish were born and you've grown them out, but they're still too small to put in the bigger tanks. I mean, when you start having fry, and that's one of the problems that of course people who are breeding run into, or people who start a breeding project, they have to have a lot of tanks because you get these different generations. And of course, the real teeny fry cannot go with medium size because they'll get eaten. They'll get picked off. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. I mean, let them get a little bit larger and throw them in the bigger tank, or maybe you may have to just put them on Craigslist. You may want to roll the dice and put them in with the bigger fish, see what happens, or take them to the local fish store and maybe get a credit. Try and get a fish credit. I mean, I'm checking out the 104 viewers. Fish Fam link. You know, Fish Fam link. Fish Fam link. I'm going to go ahead and you're doing all the work of a moderator anyway. So there you go. You're now a moderator, Fish Fam link. Welcome to the family of moderators. Please send me your email address because I do send moderators separate emails. So send me your email address to ben.o.cichlid@gmail.com and I'll add you to the mailing list for moderators. But thank you for all the good stuff you do and all the suggestions and links and everything else that you share during the live streams. Nobody asked you to do that. So thank you for jumping in and doing it. All right. Any other thoughts, questions, or ideas? Let's go ahead and share them now. You're saying collaborations of curiosities is a bot? I don't know. I don't think it's a bot. Are you a bot? Are you a bot, Fish Fam link? On the topic of bots, I have a public announcement to make. And I guess this is on a serious note. Get ready for something serious. Let me get the serious close-up. There we go. There's the serious close-up. My mother-in-law received a call from my youngest son saying that he had gotten in a car accident and broken his nose and needed some help and money. It was entirely an AI-generated phone call. So just a little word of warning. Watch out for those. Set up a family code. Okay, what's the family code? And if they don't know it, you know you got a bot. It sounded completely legit. And it was all AI trying to extract some money from my 84-year-old mother-in-law. So watch out for that, my friends. If you get a call from Ben Ochart saying, I need money for my fish room, the code word is Garage Gang. All right, that's your serious that's your serious message for today. Thank you, my friends, for tuning in. Have yourselves a wonderful, warm weekend wherever you are. You are the best. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for liking and showing up. Thank you for subscribing. Double check to make sure that you're still subscribed because YouTube will unsubscribe you. I don't know why, but double check. Make sure you're still subscribed. And I hope to see you folks next Saturday. And watch for the Will This Work video. It will be coming out this afternoon or tomorrow morning. All right. Thank you, my friends. You are the best. I will see you again soon. And That's it for me. Bye bye.